Welcome back. Yep. Welcome back. If you're just tuning in, you're watching us, Zamel and Stephen, and we are focusing on the first topic, talking about communication in a relationship. And we have...
That's right, our very own love guru. Professor Dr. Rozieta, Shaary, motivator, love guru. Yeah, good morning,
Good morning.
Thank you for that wonderful introduction.
So first of all, Prof, tell us about communication. Why is it so important between partners, between loved ones, and even between working in a working environment? And is communication the biggest building block in a relationship, would you say?
Wonderful question. Good morning to all. And the answer is yes. It is yes. And one thing that we also need to also understand that conversation is not necessary is communication. And conversation is not communication. So when we are conversing, does not mean that we have a communication going on. It's just like one part of the communication only, because communication is not just verbal. It is also energy communication. So this is one thing that we need to understand, that when we say about communication, and we cannot not communicate. We are always communicating. As we are talking, as conversing, we are communicating. As we are sitting down quietly or standing up or whatsoever, we are communicating. The way we put the way we dress and everything, we are communicating something to everybody, to the world. So this is something that we need to understand that. And when we're talking about a relationship cannot happen without communication, because the thing is this: communication is the bridge between two people. So maybe words is not needed, but that is that energy connection, the energy communication happen at that time. So when a relationship, for example, a husband and wife, and a mother and son, or parents and their children, when they are not talking to one another and they are not conversing to one another, it will affect the relationship. As I was saying just now, what I'm trying to say is that relationship or communication is not just the word that we say, it is also the action that we do. So that's why we have this saying that action speaks louder than word. That is communicating actually, because the action actually communicate some message or some messages to the person that we are with.
I see. Now, give us the worst case scenario, Prof. What happens when a communication breaks down?
And you, Prof?
Prof?
Oh, okay.
That is a perfect example of a communication breakdown. You know? When someone is distracted or basically doesn't even care about the existence of
another person. Yes, exactly.
When sometimes the iPhone takes the front seat.
Yes, last time we don't have iPhone, but still
any mobile device.
Yeah, we cannot blame the gadget. We need to understand it is a mindset, because last time we don't have gadget like this, but yet when somebody is talking to us, when there are many situations, when the spouse is talking to another spouse, and that person is actually engrossed into something else and not actually
being bothered.
Yes, being bothered, and that hurts the person that is the other partner. That this is something that we need to realize, to have the 100% presence as our spouse is talking to us, if we are really in something, doing something very important, we just say, okay, can you hold on for a second? What you're saying is very important. I would like to attend to that, but just let me finish this for a while. That's something that we need to actually continue, practice in our relationship.
Yeah, just practice some courtesy and compassion,
especially with our spouse, because we are okay with the people that sometimes with our friends, but not so much with our spouse. Sometimes we take it for granted.
Spouse, loved ones, we tend
with children, our children, something also, yes.
So, Prof, what about if the person is naturally a quiet person? he doesn't like to talk much, or either party, it could be either party, girl or the guy.
Yeah.
So what happens then?
What happened then? The thing is, as I said, communication is not just word, it's not just conversation. It is the being with a person. So maybe you don't really know much, you don't really want to say anything, but being there, smiling, and being there, presence for that person is also communicating. So this is something that we need to realize, especially if people are in love. They don't actually talk to one another. They just look into the eyes and they can understand, right?
So do I.
And sometimes it's not really good that we are talking too much, because communication, the biggest part of communication is the ability to listen. And sometimes when we are in a conversation, we would want to dominate that conversation, and sometimes when somebody is talking, we already formulating, what am I going to answer to this person? We are not actually listening to that person when the person is saying, because the word is one thing, but the essence as the person is saying it, and we can feel the energy that what the person is saying. For example, somebody say, I love you, or I love you, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I love you,
yeah.
Right? Something like that. So when we are not present, so we are not able to actually get the essence behind that words that have been said.
One thing that really annoys me is when you text a person, like pouring out all your feelings to that person, how you feel, you really express your feeling, and then in the end you get a reply, okay, or just K.
Okay,
yes. Oh, that's worse.
I know. But okay, Prof, we actually went out to the streets and find out how some of the Malaysians actually feel about communication, especially in a relationship. So let's take a look.
Yeah, let's bring them to the show.
Okay, communication is a way for us to pass our message to other, right? So if we want other to be friend with other or build our network, we need to communicate in order our message are passed to other effectively, so that we will understand each other better.
Because by communication, you know each other better.
Communication is very important in our relationship, is because that's the only way you can tell the other person what you like and what you don't like. All right, what is your differences? You have to communicate. If you don't communicate, you won't know what is the differences. All right, so communication is very important. Even though if it is internet wise, or by speaking personally, or television or newspaper or whatever it is, we have to communicate. Kena keluarkan isi hati, baru kita faham apa masalah.
Keluarkan isi hati. Express yourself more.
With your spirit, you said it with spirit, right?
Can feel his passion, right?
Yeah,
as he is saying it, right? Yeah. And the only thing that I would like to add to that is that when we want to say anything, especially when we want to say the differences that we have with the other person, say it out of love and out of respect. Say it from that place, because the thing is that sometimes because of our desire of wanting people to understand us, we tend to be aggressive in our communication, and because of that, our message does not reach that person. As Stephen Covey, the late Stephen Covey mentioned in his 7 Habits, mentioned about seek to understand, then be understood. So we be in the place of giving first, because the intention is so that we can understand why the person is saying that thing. We need to understand why the person, where does it come from. Then only be understood, then we can explain our case. And when we're doing that, we end up with winning situation or win-win situation rather than win-lose situation, just wanting to express what our anger is. Sometimes it's better when we don't have anything to say, we keep quiet for that moment, because sometimes when we talk, that communication will not be as powerful as when we take a break for a while. We just be quiet for a while, and when time is the right time to say, then we say it. This is something that we need to also know about communication. Another thing about communication, as we are talking about words, there is the key of excellence. One of the keys of excellence is that speak with good purpose. So when we want to say anything, speak with good purpose. It's not about wanting that person to you know, I want him to understand. I want him to ask forgiveness from me. That is perhaps is not really the purpose that we want to bring into the relationship. Relation is for us to understand, and when understanding and there is an understanding between each other, there is a communication, there is a commitment, there is a tolak ansur with one another, then we are going to have a better relationship. I am in the 32nd years of my marriage.
Wow,
there's
congratulations.
A lot, yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. And there's a lot of things that I'm still learning in communicating, because people evolve, your spouse evolve.
Yeah.
From the first time you married the person to now, they evolve, they change, they get better in certain things, they get worse in some other things. So we are still learning how to actually bring ourselves together, because communication, when we have that communication, we have that bridge with one another. When we have that bridge with one another, the principles, the values that we would like to actually communicate and embrace together will be there. We will be able to embrace the same principle, the same values. And when we have the same principles and the same values, we have the same way of thinking. When we have the same way of thinking, we dance the same music.
So in any relationship, it's always the both parties that has to cooperate with one another, not just one person who has to give in all the time.
Yes,
or
thank
one
you.
who manipulates. Yeah.
Thank you for bringing that, because when you said that, I remember of the word EGO. EGO is age, God, way over, right? Out. Yes. That's the thing, because when we listen to our ego wanting to be right, is it, do you want to be right, or do you want to be happy? So as we're saying, it's only one person giving in is not the answer in a relationship. Both need to give in, and both need to actually focus on what is it that we want to bring in that relationship.
It's the intention that counts.
Yes.
Okay, Prof, we have a caller on the line and possibly giving his or her views. Good morning.
Sue from KL.
Hi, good morning.
Hi,
Hi.
Sue.
Okay, I'm Sue. I'm calling from KL.
Hi.
Okay, I'm really agreeing to the topic today, and it is a very good topic, because for me, it's based on my experience. Basically, when in the time of younger age, I don't think communication is a very big deal, and when we married, so the communication barrier was there. So at that particular time, you know, it is like you listen, I listen. That's a one-way situation, you know, one-way winning. So apparently, when time goes by and we end up in a separate ways already, and I realized communication makes a very big deal in life. Okay, then apart from that, I learned myself from my mistake that I did past, and I relate to the communication by communicating to my younger ones, means my kids, and after that to my friends and everything. Because communication is a vast thing. It's not just based on communication by listening or by talking. It's also based on our body language, our face reaction, our expression, everything. It's included, you know. So when I'm using this at the present moment, it is working out very good. In a sense, like I have a very good bond with my son, like not those days with my parents. It's a bit hard, because when we want to have a communication, we rarely talk out our heart, you know. It's like we always respect them, we always have the fear of, oh, okay, that's our parents. But now apparently when I'm as a parent and I'm having a kid, our communication is more easier, in a sense, like we are talking like friends. Anything can share.
That's good.
You know, that's the thing. And same goes for my working environment as well. So those days was a bit hard. Even though it's like you're younger, you know, and you can talk to anyone with any topics. But
you opened up
tend
yourself
to get a bit aged up, you know. So you have the communication way in a different fact in your working environment, because you tend to have a younger generation as well. So you need to have a communication which can bond to them and link every generation with us, you know. So I'm thankful to Hello too, because you have bring up such a good topic today.
Thank you very much
for your advice and for your
efforts.
Thank you.
All right. Yeah, thank you very much, Sue.
Thank you.
Okay, so your before we end the segment, Prof, maybe you can give some final words of advice to, especially to all those husbands and wives out there. You know, there's a trend of divorce rates going up.
Yep.
You know, 5-10 years of marriage already divorced, so they got problems, and it all actually boils down to communication, isn't it?
Yep, it boils down to communication, because communication, you cannot have relationship without proper relationship without proper communication. To actually, as Sue was mentioned just now, that the body language and all that is also included in communication. And one thing that I would like to actually stress here is that for us to actually understand that when we want to communicate, go through it, make it sure that it comes from the place of love, from the place of love, from the place of respect. Because if we feel that it's going to hurt us, it will hurt the other person. So always have that checking mechanism. And sometimes, we say that we just want to bring out what we feel. At the same time, will that actually cost severe into the relationship? It's something that we need to actually continue to actually remind ourselves. And Sue mentioned just now, what I love about what she mentioned just now is that she has learned from the mistake of the past. So this is why we make mistake, so that we can learn and become better people. So same thing with communication. We might make a lot of mistake with our communication, and also be willing when you make a mistake. Be willing, whether you are the husband or whether you are the wife, to say, I am sorry. I make that mistake. You mean a lot to me. That
so
actually
become a
is
better person,
because
bigger personality.
we need to ego out.
Edge it all out. Basically. Well, thank you so much, Prof.
Edge got out.
Like we all,
Thank
like
you.
how I would always say.
When I say sorry, but age got out, I'm saying just now is that the ego is when we age got out.
Yeah, that's true. We have to edge the ego out.
Yes, edge the ego out.
And bring God in.
Yes.
Okay. So thank you so much, Prof, for
Prof.
highlighting this. And we hope all the viewers have really been enlightened by this topic.
As Sue has proven herself, you know that this is really a topic that touches many out there. Communication in a relationship.
I mean, every mistake is not a failure; it's just lessons learned. You know,
lessons learned, and as long as you are still in that relationship, it's not too late to learn.